Coming up in the news, the Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister addressing concerns over NIB payments. Christian leaders within the E.M.R community lamenting the spate of recent murders in the area. And today, November 30th, marks the end of the 2021 hurricane season. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Jamila Mizik. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news tonight, the Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for the National Insurance Board, the Honorable Miles LARODA, giving his contribution to the supplementary budget debate yesterday in the House of Assembly. The minister addressing concerns over NIB payments while assuring Bahamians of the government's commitment to assisting those unemployed. Minister of State, the Honorable Miles LARODA, noting that the government continues to support unemployed workers. He says, to date, the government has paid out in excess of $190 million to 34,319 persons.
Madam Speaker, I would be remiss if I would not have given the former administration credit for their implementation of a system, albeit created by the PLP. The program was scheduled to remain in effect until September 2021, has been extended until December 31st, 2021, with beneficiaries to also receive an additional lump sum payment of $500 to be paid in mid-December 2021. The estimated cost of this stimulus is around $6.5 million.
He says that only persons unemployed or partially unemployed earning less than $200 per cycle, that is every 10 days, are eligible for the continuation of funding.
If you have returned to full-time employment, your employer submit your return to work to NIB via returntowork@nibbahamas.com. That's the email address.
LARODA also addressing the expected increase in pension payments.
We wish to reiterate that this increase is only due for public service pensioners and does not apply to the NIB pension. NIB wishes to remind pensioners that amendments made to the National Insurance Act in 2010 induce automatic biennial adjustments to pensions granted and the wage ceiling. The last automatic increase in NIB pension was applied in July of 2020.
And as it relates to the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, he says new equipment is needed, such as a new server, which was last upgraded in 2012.
The estimated cost for a replacement is around $500,000, $525,000 to be replaced. The news is the primary feature of ZNS, and obsolete equipment is not going to be in the best interest of the corporation. Hence, Madam Speaker, we will have to find a way as a government to equip ZNS with all of the tools needed to go head-to-head with those other news providers. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again. No matter how good the equipment, no matter how nice the presenters, Madam Speaker, at 7 o'clock in the evenings, we know who the majority of Bahamians tune into to get the news.
In other news, a fast-growing luxury contractor with projects throughout the Bahamas, the United States, and the Caribbean hosting a job fair at the Pelican Bay Resort today. ENDEAVOUR Development International Limited interviewing scores of Grand Bahamians to fill various positions on the island of Abaco. Recruiters say their aim is to fill several positions by the end of the day. Shashina Rolf-Harkison reports.
The job fair at Pelican Bay aimed to attract skilled trade persons for new projects in Abaco. Hiring and HR manager Aaron Alberti says ENDEAVOUR Development International Limited is looking for a site superintendent assistant, as well as a project manager and assistant project manager, among other positions.
So based on kind of our business model, we are general contractors, so we would love to work with as many subcontractors as possible. However, Abaco is slower to recover, so we are doing a lot more self-performing work. So I'm also building out a self-performing team, and so if I find the talent today, I would love to hire an electrician, a plumber who work for us and are on site for us. And so electrician, a plumber, and then really, basically skilled trades. So I have a good number of finished carpenters, but a good drywaller would be amazing.
The veteran HR manager says the company is also looking to build a database for projects in E.M.R, Freeport, and Nassau.
So everything we're doing in Abaco, we're going to have to copy that and paste it in E.M.R or wherever else we go next. And so in that sense, I'd be looking for a camp administrator. I'd be looking for, basically everything. We'd be starting from scratch there. Currently, Abaco, I have roughly 42 employees who work for us right now.
Alberti adds that she is impressed with the applicants that have been interviewed on Grand Bahama, noting that the talent for the construction industry is here.
So far, quite frankly, I advertised for a camp administrator position. I already filled it. Within a day of seeing resumes, we filled that job. And so, unfortunately, there are people who are coming, but I'm looking at them for future opportunities. So the talent that I'm seeing today is phenomenal. The goal for me is just to kind of match them up to make sure that they're a good quality fit for our organization, and then Shane is really qualifying them on their expertise within construction. I am very confident we'll hire, if not everyone that we need today.
EDI is constructing luxurious homes and commercial retail on Bakers Bay, Abaco. Shoshana Wolf-Farquharson, ZNS Network News.
Meanwhile, officials of a newly formed teachers union say they are doing their part to improve the education sector. Recently, members of the Bahamas Educators, Counselors, and Allied Workers Union met with the nation's leader, the minister responsible for labor, and the minister of education in New Providence. Tonight, the president of the union is sharing details about those meetings and the way forward. Italia Hall reports.
The Bahamas Educators, Counselors, and Allied Workers Union, established in October of 2020, now has over 400 members. President of the union, Sandra Major, says she, along with a team of union members, met with the Minister of Education, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, in October. She says the meeting was productive and encouraging, adding that the union's aim is to work along with the Ministry of Education to improve the education system.
Instead of taking our fights to the street, we're going to take them behind closed door. And if issues are to be solved, we think that we can solve them in a decent manner behind closed doors. And when we come out united to further the Bahamian people, not to tear them down. So it's very important that we have those meetings, and Becca plans to be a part of them every single time.
Major says the education minister's goal is to work along with the union.
The respect that we give is the respect that we want back. And so we have said to the Minister of Education, and she said to us, that we are willing to work together as a partnership, because we don't have to fight. We can fight if we have to, but we don't always have to fight for everything. Like I always say to people, just because you sit opposite me doesn't make you right, and it doesn't make me wrong. It makes you that we share a different opinion.
And last week, the group also had the opportunity to meet with the Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, and the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Keith Bell.
The Prime Minister is very labor-friendly, and the plans that he has to improve the relationship between labor and the government is a very positive one. In speaking with the Minister of Labor, I brought to his attention that we have a lot of teachers who are still awaiting confirmation, and his concern is he doesn't know why it's taking so long. So he said to me that I can forward him a list of names of teachers who are awaiting confirmation, and that's what I will do.
She contends that the issue of confirmation for teachers is frustrating.
There's a teacher in Montan Primary School who has been waiting from 2007 just to receive increment. She's never received an increment. She's worked, and that's her entitlement. There are teachers who've been waiting 8 years to be confirmed, for a letter to say that you confirm. Why does it take so long? And so in order to move forward, we must have a faster processing of confirmation letters. Teachers have sent to the ministry continually. We've written just since I've taken over. And before that, Mr. Quinton LARODA was doing the same thing. Going to Nassau, sending the letter, and there is a holdup.
Major notes that it is their duty to empower the members within the union.
All of us are leaders. And to make them better, we have just recently formed a relationship with the Bahamas Baptist University College from Nassau with Dr. Julian Reed. And in this relationship, we have formed a memorandum of understanding where she will accommodate the members of Beckeroo if they want to further themselves in a degree. And because of her affiliation with schools in the United States, we're also partnering with them, and I will have a meeting with them next week, Florida Memorial University, to see how we can give our members of Beckeroo an opportunity to further their education.
Now the union president says they are presently in 9 islands across the country and plan to expand to even more islands in the near future. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
In other news, Christian leaders within the E.M.R community lamenting the spate of recent murders in the area. In 1 month, 5 young men have been stabbed or gunned down, and an appeal is being made to members of the community to promote unity and peace for the betterment of all. Shashina Farquharson reports.
Police officials have had their hands full with a number of murders and shooting incidents on Grand Bahama. Within the past few weeks, 3 men were killed in the 8-Mile area, leaving the community shattered. Leaders within 8-Mile say this is of grave concern.
It's really devastating, and it's obvious that devastations as such, it leaves a stain, not only blood stains, but it leaves a stain because now you have the entire community is impacted, especially with the young people. They're witnessing these events and these devastation happen, and it's easy for them to carry on with the trend, and so it leaves that stain, and that's something that we have to counteract.
Pastor Andre Farquharson has visited with some of the victims' loved ones.
And she shared with me her heart and what was told to her. As a matter of fact, I mean, he was right in his yard. And so when you see you're being murdered right in your yard, that was really heart-wrenching for her.
But Pastor Theok says there must be a mindset shift.
Speaking from first-hand experience, as a teenager, I could even think of times when older persons as a teenager plays gun in my hand and say, "Hey, hold it, see how this feel." I'm playing video games and they having target practice outside, and so this is common, and it has to be a mentality shift. I think that's the major problem, because I could have easily become a statistic of that experience.
There's also a cry for stiffer penalties. Pastor Marvin Henfield says it is not only lawful, but it is also biblical.
When it comes to murder, according to God's law, there must be capital punishment. This is one thing I heard on the streets going to homes and visiting families. One thing is, well, they say if you're going to do capital punishment to that person who murder in the worst sense, they want to say it's inhumane. This is what many are saying out there. But when you look at God's law, he said, no, that's justice. Move the murderer from the land. The land is defiled by blood, and it cannot be atoned for unless. So if you act on the law, they would learn to fear it, because they are not fearing the law, because they are seeing the injustice. Criminals guilty by all measure. The evidence is there, and they're still out on the streets.
Shashina Farquharson, ZNS Network News.
Bahamians across the islands of the Bahamas, particularly here in the northern Bahamas, are perhaps breathing a sigh of relief as the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season comes to a close today. Tonight, a chief meteorologist is giving a review of the hurricane season and says residents in the northern Bahamas are fortunate. Italia Hall reports.
The 2021 Atlantic hurricane season was projected to be an active one, Chief Meteorologist Orson Nixon confirming that it was, as this is the third most active season on record with some 21 named storms.
It's also the second year in a row and third overall that actually allocated all 21 named storms on the list. That was exhausted. But what happened early in the year, they did issue an announcement where they ceased to use the Greek alphabet for named storms that surpassed the 21 list. And they will have a supplementary list that will be used.
He says the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season began a little early with Tropical Storm Anna in May, adding that this is the 7th year in a row that a storm formed before the start of the season.
This year, we were very fortunate. We did not experience any direct results of any hurricane or tropical storms. We did receive some swells from one or two hurricanes, and that was the extent.
East End resident Omiko Glinton says he is breathing a sigh of relief that the Bahamas was spared from any major storms.
For someone from East Grand Bahama who have been through Hurricane Dorian, to be honest with you, even if you hear a little thunderstorm, your heart starts to beat because it brings back the memory of the horror of Hurricane Dorian. So the fact that we are at the end of November, and the good thing about that too is my birthday ends the hurricane season. My birthday is December 1st. So that's always a good thing. So, but I could say, besides seeing the people of East End start to rebuild and everything, it is a sign of relief that we are at the end of the hurricane season.
Dion Marsh is sharing the same view.
The hurricane season right now is almost behind us, and I'm happy with that. And we don't need another Dorian. So that being said, we just need our economy to pick up right now.
Georgette Bullard says she is truly grateful as Grand Bahama nor Abaco can take another storm.
Well, I'm the only woman in Abaco that had baby hours before the storm hit. So trust me, I'm more than happy that there's no storm coming this way. You know, thank God nobody in Freeport have to worry about that as well. We've taken a licking and we managed to keep on ticking.
It's Talia Hall, ZNS Network News.
You're watching the Northern Edition. Stay with us.